Hey there, folks. Welcome to day 6 of the ill-advised and stupid journey that I am on, where I'm going to post a video playthrough of a solo game every single day for 2022. I'm recording these in advance, so today is technically December 30th. I am doing these as much of these as I can before the start of the new year, so I get to hit the ground rolling. Obviously, this will be an interesting experiment to see how well I do over the course of 2022 in keeping up with these. The theme this week are tiny games. So in the previous 5 days, I've done button shy games, which are known for having wallet-sized games. Now we're going to start on tiny epic games. Now, tiny epic games are not actually that tiny, and sometimes they're not that epic. But can be a lot of fun, and I have 3 of them that I'm going to be playing through. The first one is by Scott Alms, who you might remember from Food Chain Island, the first game that we did. He has put together a game for Tiny Epic called Tiny Epic at Galaxies. This is the base game. We do not have I think it's the Black Sky expansion or the Black Universe expansion, something like that. Something brooding and mysterious. We're also going to do Tiny Epic Quest. And then the last game that we're going to do technically is the start of the next week. It's going to be Tiny Epic Zombies, and next week will be all zombie games, so look forward to that. But this is going to be Tiny Epic Galaxies. One of my goals with each of these streams is to actually go through the whole thing of setting up the game and tearing it down. And obviously with the first week here of just tiny games, that's not that big of a deal. But this is the first one where we've actually got a little bit more of a substantial setup. Now, I've played this in the past, but it has also been a long time since I've played. So I'm going to be a little fuzzy on the rules, and for that I apologize. As always, if I make mistakes in the rules, please feel free to shout out at me, and I will post corrections as necessary and do all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and just dump all this out. So what I do like about the Tiny Epic games is that they always seem to have, they always make good use of the box. So in this case, we're going to keep this off in the corner. And then the inside of the top of the box is a nice little dice tray that you can use, which we probably will. You're given 1 control mat. I think this is the control mat, and then I apologize. No, that is not a control mat. So let's go ahead and pull these out. So we've got our control mat here. This is basically an activation bay. We place that front and center. And go through the rules here and make sure that I'm doing this correctly. One of my pet peeves, by the way, is when solo rules are simply go take a look at the main rules and then just make these small changes, because then you're flipping back and forth between 2 sets of rules. It does get really annoying. So we've got our control bay, our control mat. We've got 7 action dice. We'll go ahead and pull those out. Just put those right there. I'm giving away the rule book. We've got our player mats, and the back of each player mat, there's 1 player mat per color. You've got red, green, yellow, blue, and purple. But then the back of the mats are different rogue galaxies. You got Hades, Zendika, Rothkul, Artemis, and Gamelin. Gamelin is, I believe, the name of the company that produces this game. And they identify whether or not they are easy, difficult, or hard. So we've got easy, beginner, medium, hard, and epic. And because I've not played for a long time, I'm going to go on beginner mode with Artemis. Unless this is the green. This is not the green. Okay. And then we're going to take the green one because I like playing green. That is my color. I always prefer to play green whenever I play. So we're going to put the rest of those in there. In addition, there are a bunch of secret mission cards that we do not use for the solo game. I believe these just simply give you some additional victory points that can help with various tie conditions in case multiple people get to the same point. We do not, however, need these, so these are all going to go off to the side. These are the planet cards. Each of these are different cards that show different planets and different colonization information. This just simply tells you what you need to actually finish colonizing the planet. Plus, you can also use these for various abilities, and these are worth a certain number of points. With this game, you are trying to reach 21 points before the rogue galaxy does. Let's go ahead and take our pieces out here. And then I'll go ahead and look and see what I'm supposed to do. And I think what I've done in the past, I've just simply, because I do a lot of solos, I will sometimes set aside what I need for a solo playthrough on its own. That way I don't have to worry about trying to mix them up together. These are the smallest pieces, as you can see. You get one of each of these different types. And then there's 4 ships for each color. Hoping you can see that on screen. I'm not going to worry about pulling this out. I'm just going to use blue for the rogue color. Because I think that's actually what it is on the back. So there we go. You can tell I've probably played a lot of beginners. Just to make sure that I have this correct, you start with 2 ships on the center of your galaxy mat. I'm green. So I believe that goes there. The other 2 ships are placed on the ship track on the number of spaces outlined with a square. So I'm going to actually do this like this. I'm going to put the ships that we have here, like that, and then we're going to have ships here as well. And I'm hoping you all can see that, because I know this is pretty far away. It's all the way up there. So maybe I can zoom in a little bit. I don't want to zoom in too much, because this is probably, of the games that I have for Tiny Epic, this is probably the one with the smallest footprint. But I think we can go ahead and pull this in. Let's pull it into here. And we'll set up, we'll keep the rogue gallery over here. Control mat here. And the dice here. I am a futzer. I do futz a lot. I do apologize. You keep track of your Empire level using the Empire token. The Empire token is this thing with the star on it. That is here. And basically, as you're going along, you will increase the Empire total to indicate what level you're at. And that will give you more dice, more victory points. So if I can get all the way up to 6, I'll get 8 victory points just for that. In addition, I will get a new ship when I hit 3 and when I hit 5, and I'll get new dice when I hit 2, 4, and 6. Then I'm going to take these 2 here. This is culture, is the little Greek column. You're going to start at 1. Energy is going to be 2. You're going to start here. These can also be used for other things such as re-rolling and following, which I'll explain as we go along. I think that is it for setting this up. To set up the rogue mat, again, my apologies, it has been a while since I played it. You're going to have to get used to this over the course of the year, because I do not have the knowledge of 100 different games in my head, and that's about how many I have. So I want to try to make sure that I'm explaining this as best I can, but I also want to be as accurate as possible. For those of you who watched the video yesterday, yes, this is the same shirt, same coffee. I'm recording same day, back to back. Let's see. Game setup. Select a rogue galaxy mat. Each color has a unique rogue galaxy energy. And they start with 0 culture and 0 energy. But they do also start, I can actually put those right there. They start with all 4 ships. They do not get ships at any point. We'll go ahead and put those there. And that probably would look better if they were straight up. And then this is going to start here on their Empire level. All right. All right, so I believe that I go first. We have to deal out the planets too, finally. Shuffle the deck of planet cards. That's these lovely cards right here. We're going to shuffle these up. Draw 2 more than the number of players and place each one face up in the center of a line. So technically there's 1 player, so I'll deal out 3 cards, I believe. Again, it's really frustrating to have to go back and forth between the solo instructions and the regular instructions. But yes, I believe it is 3 cards. If that is incorrect, I'm not seeing anything that contradicts that. This is probably paining some people to see me do this, because this does bend the cards, essentially. And no, I don't sleeve. I probably should for some of the games that I play more often. All right, so we're going to deal out 3 cards. The 3 planets, I mean. There we go. And we'll set up new cards over here. Okay. So the planets that we have are Lorena, which is only worth 2 points. CLJ0517, which is also worth 2, and La Torres, which is worth 2. So none of these are really worth a whole lot. So then, as far as I can tell, what I do is to start the game. I don't think that there's anything in here about. You will take the first turn. You play your turns as usual, but Rogue Galaxy plays by a different set of rules. So we will come to that in a moment. So for my gameplay, I'm going to take 4 dice, because that is the level that I'm at. You read that here at the starting level, and roll the dice. And you can't see the die tray anymore, so I'm just going to roll these off screen. How do I want to do this? Here, we'll put this here. That way you can see the dice. All right, so we've got, these are our different dice. So for these little rocket ones, the ones that look like Christmas trees, that's moving a ship, which means I can land on a planet's surface. I can take one of the ships that I actually do have. I can land it on the surface here if I wanted to, and then I can perform the action listed on that planet cards, which is, in this case, is steal 1 culture from another player, steal 1 energy from another player, immediately upgrade your empire. You may spend energy and or culture. So normally when you upgrade your empire, you can only use culture or energy. You can't use both at the same time. I think that means if I wanted to, I could actually just jump in right away and get my my empire upgraded, which would be nice. If you upgrade and you get more dice, your dice do kick in on the next turn. But if you upgrade and you get another ship, that ship activates right away. You can also acquire resources. So, for example, if any of these were energy or culture, you could gain those as resources. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those. Advanced colonization when orbiting a planet. So if I've got a ship that's landed, I can then use diplomacy or economy, which is not the other one shown. It's where's the economy? That's not economy. That's economy. There we go. The symbol on the last track indicates what you must use. So, for example, this one would be advanced via diplomacy, but these 2 would be advanced via economy. You start. If I do manage to colonize a planet, it becomes part of my total. So I get to take this. I would take this and place this under the action side, so I get to see the planet name and I'm trying to figure out what the action side of my game mat is. But I would get to claim it, and that would be part of my victory point total, and then a new planet would replace it. And I haven't looked at that yet, what the new planet is, so I'm going to put that back. And then as you're going through the activation process, you just simply put them up here. There is a converter, by the way, that you can use to take 2 dice and convert it to a third. But that seems to me like really, really kind of tricky. You do get an explanation of here of what the different actions are, which is helpful as well. Finally, utilize a colony. Activate this die. This is this one right here to perform either the action on your galaxy mat, which means in this case upgrade my empire, or one of the planets I have colonized. Oh, I see. So I think if I were to do this, get the dice or get this planet, it would go down here, so that way I've got a running total of all the actions that I have, which means that this is probably a bad arrangement. Overall, we're going to do it like this. So that way you get to see the running list of actions that I have. Live and learn. Once you have activated as many of your dice as you wish to activate, turn is over. And then you get to also follow dice. The Rogue Galaxy does not follow, but you can follow the Rogue Galaxy, which is kind of cool. So anyway, we've got our initial set of... Stop doing that. We've got our initial set of dice. We've got 2 planet launchers. We've got an advanced diplomacy, and we've got a utilize a colony. And I believe... Okay, so I see. I was making a mistake here. So if I were to land on the planet's surface, that would put it here. That means I get to do this action. I could also move it so that it's on the orbiting track and eventually will colonize the planet. So this becomes part of my card. All right, so sorry about that. I think I was just muddled there in my head in terms of what to do. So let's take a look at this first move. This first move is move 2 ships, use diplomacy, and also use a colony action. Utilize the colony. So what I could do is, and I want to make sure that I've got the upgrade empire correct. Upgrade empire. Yeah, spend the number of resources equal to the next level of your empire track. The cost must be paid entirely either in energy or entirely in culture. They cannot be combined. So let's see. What we want to do is, I think we'll go ahead and utilize the colony first. Upgrade the empire, and we're going to use all of our energy. These are getting moved around a little bit because these are a little unstable. We're going to move that up to 2. And so on the next turn, we'll be able to use 5 dice, which is a plus. We'll go ahead and launch our 2 ships. So we'll move 1 ship over to La Torres because I want to use that diplomacy. And we'll use the other ship. And we'll launch that to, I think, Lorena, because I kind of want to get that Lorena out of the way. All right. And then we'll use diplomacy as our last action. We will go ahead and upgrade that to the next level there. We need 2 more diplomacy to get that. We need 3 more economy to get that. And now the rogue goes. On the rogue action's turn, 1 die is rolled at a time. The die is placed on the activation bay on the control mat, and the action is taken by the rogue galaxy. This continues until all of the rogue galaxies available dice have been rolled. Right now, it will start off with... I'm not sure. Sorry. I think 5. I think 5 is the number of dice that it starts off with, according to the little tracker here. So we'll take 5 of these. All right, so it's got 5 dice. Oh, sorry, my bad. My bad. It's rolled 1 at a time. That's... Sorry. All right, so the first one, it's going to go 5 total. And the first one it gets is an economy. So this one is an economy action, but it can't actually do it because it doesn't have any rogue ships out. And if the die action is unusable by the rogue galaxy, the die is rerolled 1 time. We get economy again. It can't do it. It only rerolls it once before it then discards it. So its first action here is unused. So yay. We'll reroll it again. We get a diplomacy. It also cannot do anything with diplomacy because it doesn't have any way to advance a diplomacy track. It rerolls it 1 time and we get another diplomacy. So that is out as well. So far, so good. The rogue galaxy has taken 0 actions. Yay. Finally, we've got an upgrade in Empire. Utilize a colony. This is typically an attack against my empire. The actions are listed on the rogue galaxy map. Do not use any action from a colonized planet. Nice. Only the action on the current level is executed. So in this case, I lose 1 energy. Now, I'm not sure what to do about the fact that I can't do anything. I have no energy to lose. I'm at 0 energy. So, is there anything here that I can... Which makes me wonder, do I then, is that considered a can't perform the action? That is a good question. I don't think that's going to be answered in here. So let's go ahead and say, general rules, if I don't know the rules to something, I'm going to try to assume that it's going to work against me as much as possible. So in this case, I can't lose one energy. I don't have any way to lose an energy because I'm out. So I'm going to re-roll the dice. I'm going to assume that if I have no energy to lose, it re-rolls. And it gets a resource this time. It gets a culture. Rogue Galaxy acquires resources just as if it were a player, except that its galaxy produces both energy and culture. At the end of its turn, if a resource marker is at the max level, one or both of the special actions will occur. So if it reaches 6 as far as energy, it upgrades, and if it gets to the culture, it will get +3 actions. In this case, 1 culture, that becomes a 1 here. We still have 2 more dice to go. We get another culture, so that will advance there. And last dice is... if I wanted to, I could use 1 culture to follow and then get that culture back, which it would be kind of stupid. The diplomacy one comes up. It can't use diplomacy, so we re-roll this. And we get economy this time, and it can't do anything with economy. So not too bad. It of 5 dice, it had got 2 culture and didn't really use it didn't do anything else. If I made a mistake there, please let me know in the comments, because I'm kind of fuzzy on whether or not I'm playing this game correctly. But anyway, that's the Rogue Galaxy's turn, and now it's my turn. And so now I'll take 4 dice. I'll take 5 dice. I'm sorry, I've upgraded them last time. What I really need are resources. I need culture and energy up to the zoo. I got energy, which is good. So I'm going to go ahead and play those right away. Just going to go ahead and use those, move those up. I'm going to knock over the ship again. I've got a move ship. Sorry, that was on economy. That's my bad. I've got a utilize colony action, which I can't really do anything with. I've also got a move ship, which I don't want to do anything with. So I'm going to use that to go there. I can use 1 energy to re-roll if I wanted to. And for re-rolling, let me just make sure I have this correct. I do not know if you re-roll all dice or 1 dice. At any point during your turn, you may re-roll any number of your dice that have not yet been activated. The first re-roll of your turn is free. Thereafter, a re-roll of any inactive dice costs 1 energy. So I do get to re-roll once. I am going to go ahead and re-roll these. Both of these are just not useful for me. I get diplomacy and a move ship. So diplomacy is good because that will allow me to move here. And then move ship doesn't do anything for me. I could re-roll. It'll cost me 1 energy, which will move me down there. And one of 2 things will happen. Either I'll get 1 more energy, which will cancel it out. I'll get a culture, which would just be a swap at that point. I could get economy or diplomacy. And if I get diplomacy, I colonize this planet. I don't think it's worth it. I think I'm just simply going to have a ship that doesn't get used, which is unfortunate. Or a dice that doesn't get used. If I wanted to, I could have taken this and the diplomacy and put them there, and then advanced this Lorena by 1. I'm not sure that would have been useful. And Alexa, I think, is going to start going nuts here. But yeah, that's the end of my turn. Rogue Galaxy gets to go, and it's going to take 5 dice and roll them 1 at a time. It gets a utilize colony, and in this case, I get to lose 1 energy, so I would have lost that energy anyway. Yay! It gets to move a ship. All right, we haven't done move a ship yet, so I got to look that up. Sorry, folks. If any ships are still on the rogue mat, move 1 to the leftmost planet that does not have a rogue ship orbiting it. Place that ship on the colony track. A rogue ship will never land on the surface of a planet. So we're going to take this, and it's going to move here. So it's trying to come after Lorena. which means now an economy thing will actually move it forward. It gets a diplomacy. It can't use diplomacy. It gets an energy, so we will move the energy up by 1, and it's not actually at energy right now, so it gets onto the 1 track. These are, for a guy, I have kind of big, meaty hands, and so this does get a little tricky at times. It will now move a ship, and we'll go ahead and move it here. It is the only ship on that planet. Yay. And then 1 more energy. So could be worse, could be better. Not too bad, though. That is the Rogue Galaxies' turn. I hope I'm actually recording. Just looking back to my computer. Get out of the way. There we go. We are recording. Yay. This is probably going to be the longest video that we've had so far. All the Button Shy games don't take much time at all. Food Chain Island, I think we did 3 games in 20 minutes. The rest were 1 game in 20 minutes. All right, so these are just god-awful. I'm just going to say it. These are god-awful. We're going to get 1 economy. Move that forward. We're going to get 1 energy. So we'll move that forward. We could upgrade, except we don't have enough. I'm going to re-roll the 2 move ships, because I can't do anything with the move ships. The first re-roll is free. And what I did is I decided to keep the culture one, just in case. This is good. This is very good. This allows me to get the rest of the way up this economy track. And I can now claim this. This ship will fly back to home. This ship will fly home. And this goes underneath. Really? No, it goes underneath. It's the fun part. This will probably be easier with... There we go. Now I may use a colony action of upgrading with both culture and energy. And the reason that this becomes useful, we'll go ahead and take that culture, is now I can upgrade using both instead of just one or the other. So I'll use all my energy, I'll use all but 1 of my culture, and I will upgrade to 3, and I will get a new ship. Now, when I colonized that planet, I should have automatically drawn another planet, I believe. So now we've got another planet over there, and we're done with our turn. We're going to take these 5, and we'll re-roll. So it gets an energy. There's really nothing to do about the energy or the culture. It's just simply going to keep adding to that total. Another energy. It's not great because it's going to upgrade soon. Energy. 1 more and it upgrades. Let's see. At the end of its turn, if a resource marker is at max level, 1 or both of the special actions below will occur. If both special actions occur, resolve energy first, then culture. So I wanted to make sure I read that correctly. So if this hits 6 on the next die, we don't automatically reset it to 0 and then start it up again. We do wait until it's over. So colony. Colonization, I can't lose 1 energy. So we will re-roll. It gets an energy. It is now at max energy. I think that means if I roll another energy, I have to re-roll the dice as well. So yay. There we go. And we re-rolled just once and got another. I do not know what's going on here. I've never seen like something like this. This is insane. So now at the end of its turn, it is at max energy. It gets to upgrade. It will still just be using 5 dice. And then I believe that'll come there. Everything is very squidgy. After this done, move the energy token back to 0. Rogue Galaxy can upgrade its empire level only once per turn. So we've upgraded the empire level. I now will lose 1 culture instead if it rolls the colony die. So that's not great. All right, so now. All right, so now we got a bunch of stuff here. We got 2 energy and 1 culture, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and take all of those. So 1 culture, 3 energy. I may now utilize a colony action, and I can use the immediately upgrade your empire. You may spend either energy or culture combined, and I need to get to 4. So I will use all of my culture because I'm going to run the risk of losing it anyway, and I don't really do much in terms of following. I know that that is an option that I could have been taking this entire time. I'll knock the energy down to there. That will allow me to upgrade my empire, and now I will get to use 6 dice on the next turn. And then finally get to launch a ship, and I think I'm going to go ahead and launch a ship to... I'm going to launch a ship out to Mared. There, so I have something that I'm working for in terms of colonization. All of these are just 2 points. None of them are worth a whole lot, which is unfortunate. So now we re-roll for the Rogue Galaxy goes. 1 dice at a time. All right, colony action. It can't do the colony action because I don't have any culture to lose. Diplomacy. It can't do diplomacy because it doesn't have a ship on a diplomacy planet. Oh, that was it, and that was it. I re-rolled once, got 1 re-roll, and that's it. Sorry. All right, it gets energy, so it is now on the 1 track for the energy. It moves a ship out. It will go to the left-hand planet. So technically we're on the same planet now. It will move a ship again. It still has another ship to move. It will not move another ship because there's not a 4th planet for it to go to. I'm wondering if I dealt enough planets here. Because it does seem weird that it would have 4 ships and yet only be able to use 3. Does that seem right? If I'm supposed to have had a 4th planet out, I do apologize. Because technically there are 2 players, I guess. Hadn't really thought of that. Alright, you know what? I'm going to assume that I messed up and that I should have had a 4th planet out. Sorry. And culture. It moves the culture up by 1. I don't think that would have affected anything in the game. It would have given me another option. Honestly, that 5 there, that actually looks kind of juicy. Alright, so that is the end of the Rogue Galaxy turn. I now get 6 dice to work with because I'm at level 4 for my Empire. A lot of stuff here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this diplomacy, and I'm going to go ahead and colonize the planet. That will send that ship back. I will get that ship back. And I get to slide this under here. No, really, I get to slide it under here. I do not understand how I'm supposed to be able to slide these under without messing anything up. All right. Now as a colony action, I could steal an energy, and they've only got 1 energy left, so that would actually not be a bad idea. I've got economy here, but I don't have any planets launched. So let's move these 2 over here. Let's go ahead and actually claim these 2. I'm going to move energy up 1. I'm going to move culture up 1. If I wanted to, I could try to get to 5 for my... But I don't think that's going to work. Oh, we should have replaced the planet. Well, we really need our ships to be launched. So I'm going to re-roll all of my dice. I'm not going to worry about the colony action. So that was a free re-roll. I get to launch 1 ship out. I'm going to go ahead and go for one of these 5s. I don't have diplomacy or economy right now. I'm going to go ahead and do this one, because that colony action then becomes 2. Actually, I'm going to go for this one, because that colony action can't be used by the Rogue Galaxy. That is huge. And then I've got energy and a colony action, so I'll go ahead and boost my energy up by 1. And then I think steal 1 energy from another player. I think technically speaking, I can do that. I'm going to assume that I can. If I can't, I apologize. This is probably the game I'm going to make the most mistakes on overall, but I'm going to steal one of its energy. And then that moves up to 4. So now I've got 4 energy, 1 culture. On the next turn, I can move up to 5, which is nice. But I really kind of need to get some ships out there. Because right now I've only got 1. So its first move is to gain a culture. So now it is up to 4. Diplomacy. It cannot use diplomacy because it does not have a ship on a diplomacy planet. It does, however, have an economy one. And the danger of the economy, if it has multiple ships out, is that it will do that with all ships. So it can suddenly go from like nothing to having a whole ton of points. We will get 1 energy out. What I really kind of want are... Yep, there we go. Another energy. Or another economy there. This is going to suddenly hurt. Another energy. And I think that's it. I think right now it's only got 5. So that is the end of the Rogue Galaxy's turn. I'm going to take 6 of these. Come on, economy. I need 3 economy to be able to get this planet, to steal this planet out from the Rogue Galaxy. Not that it's a great planet to get, and honestly, I should be more focused on that one. Alright, so we've got 3 colony actions, which is insane. We've got 1 economy and 1 galaxy and 1 diplomacy. That is garbage. Alright, so let's go ahead and use the energy. Get this up to 5. For the colony action, I can use one of these and just upgrade as normal. I'll go ahead and use all of the energy. I'll use all but 1 energy. I'm going to use 1 culture. Because again, I have that ability that now allows me to mix and match. That will give me my last ship. I will use 1 economy. I'm going to go for this 5. I can't be... I'm not going to get this, I think. I think if I got a better roll on the first one, I would be more inclined to try to push for this. But that is just not going to... I don't think that's going to work. So we're going to reroll all of these. And I get to launch 2 ships, and I get to get an energy. So, what do I want to do? Well, first of all, let's launch a ship. Let's get this out to the 5. So we can use that. Now, here's the thing. I am wondering if I should launch the other ship, which I don't think is going to be useful. I think this economy one will get taken on the next turn. I could take an energy and then re-roll this. I could also just use an energy and re-roll both of them. If it comes up diplomacy, or actually no, I'll go ahead and use this energy to re-roll all of the dice. I get an economy and an energy, so I get my energy back. I get my economy up by 1, and there we go. Now, had I decided to push my luck on this 2, I'd be up tied with the ship, but then I'd still possibly lose it on the next turn anyway. So I think that was probably the right thing to do. Those both go there. That's fully activated. We now take these. The Rogue Galaxy is still only rolling 5 dice. We're at 41 minutes. I'm hoping that this takes less than an hour. Oh, no, it has to do these one at a time. I really have to remember that. One at a time. It gets a move ship. So this will join me on the economy planet. Diplomacy planet, not the economy planet. It now gets another move ship, so all of its ships are deployed. It does advance diplomacy by 1. Knock that around a little bit. It's only got the one. We've only got the 1 diplomacy planet out, so that's all that does. That is another diplomacy. That's not good. And then finally, we get an economy, and this is where things go really south. So it will advance 1 on each planet that has an economy symbol. It will go ahead and move 2 ships back here. I will lose this ship back to here, and it now gets 2 points. So currently is at 4 points for that and 1 point for the planet. It's at 15 points overall, which sucks. All right, so I take 6. Oh, and we need to replace the planets. I got another 5 out. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. This is insane. What do I do here? I think the obvious thing that I do is I take all these diplomacies and I activate all of them. 1, 2, 3. So that will put me there. Was this on 1 or 2? I can't remember. I think it was on 2. Go ahead and put it on 2. We'll do the same with the 2 economy. We'll get to the 4. And I will go ahead and re-roll this last dice. And I get an energy. Crap. Well, I'm doing okay, but I would have liked to have gotten one of those planets. So now it's got 5 dice. It's going to start re-rolling. It does a colony action. I lose 1 culture. I can't lose a culture, so it re-rolls. Gets 1 energy. Second dice. I'm going to move this out of the way so it's not in my field of vision. It's now on 3 there. 2 more and it takes the planet away from me. That would blow. Energy. I can use an energy to follow. That's right. I'm going to use an energy to follow on that diplomacy so that I get to move up by 1. I have 1 more energy after that. No, I'm sorry. I have to use culture for that. I can't use energy for that. That sucks. All right. So I've got 1 energy and I can't do anything for follow. It gets 1 economy. However, it's only got 1 ship out on an economy planet. And it does move another economy. So it's used its 5 turns. Ideally, I'm going to try to get the 2 diplomacy and 1 economy I need to finish this off. Wish me luck. All right, good. Good. Good, 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 good. I've got the 2 economy, or 2 diplomacy, so that will move me there. That will send his ship back, her ship back, whichever pronoun you prefer to use. Their ship back. I'll use their. I think that's probably better. And I acquire that. Let's see. Oop, crap. I think that was on a culture. I've now got culture, I've got launch a ship and energy, and I feel like what I want to do is actually just go ahead and... Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do 2 culture. We're going to do 1 energy. We're going to get all of those. We're going to launch a ship. And I'm going to launch it out to... I think I'm just going to go for the easy win here on the diplomacy one. I'm just going to launch a ship there. And the reason I'm doing that is that if I can have a follow available for when it hits economy, I can do that to advance my economy here and claim that planet out from under it. And what that does is it gives me 5 points for that planet, 5 points for that planet. That's 10. I've got 14 here. I'm already on 5 here. That's 19 points overall. And the goal is to get to 21. So if I can get to 21, if I can get this planet, I think I'm in really good shape. So let's go ahead and do these one at a time. I'm going to move that dice over there so I don't accidentally roll it. I get an energy. I get a culture. So its culture is now on 5. I get an economy. It will advance that by 1, but I will go ahead and use the culture, or use the follow to get another economy as well, and I get to claim this planet. So it moves that ship back. Again, if I'm doing anything wrong here, I apologize. Let me know in the comments. I'm sure you will have many, many... I've seen some playthroughs, and it like lists tons of errors that people have made. Gloomhaven especially. Gloomhaven is one of those ones. It's tough to get completely right, especially if there's movement involved. All right, and now we get 2 more dice here. We get another economy. It can't follow on the economy because it doesn't have any ships out. Can't follow on the diplomacy, but it only gets 1 reroll. and it gets 1 more energy. So it is on 5 energy, 5 culture. It will advance on the next turn, most likely with both of those. So here's where we're sitting. We've got 14 points here. If I advance this, if I advance to the next round, to the 6th level, I win automatically, because I'll be at 22 points. That's it. That's game. Right now it is at 5 points, so I think I'm in pretty good shape. So we're going to go ahead and take the 6 dice. 48 minutes to play this so far, so we're looking at about an hour-long game. I'm not sure what the actual time is listed according to this. 30 to 45 minutes. Probably a little quicker if I'm not trying to explain everything and also not learning everything for the first time. So, something to keep in mind. And, let's see. So, we've got 1 of these, and we've got 3 colony actions, and I can mix and match now because I have that special ability there. So I will go ahead and take my 3 colony actions. I will move this up to 4. I need 6. I need to do 1 colony action to upgrade this to a 6. That will use up almost everything here. Knock me down to 1 of whichever one I want. Again, normally you couldn't mix and match like this. Normally you'd have to be all the way to 6 and mark it all the way down. But because I've got immediately upgrade your empire, you may spend this or this, which is nice. At least I think that that's what's supposed to be. But that gives me 8, and now 14, 22, I have won the game. I probably messed up a ton, so I'll be interested to find out what sort of errors I made throughout this whole thing. Continue play until the beginning of the starting player's next turn when the game ends. So we will continue on. We will do 1 more turn here. I don't have anything for the economy, but I do get 1 free reroll currently. And I get energy, so I will just go ahead and take the energy. All right. So now the rogue player does get 1 last chance to try to get some points. We will go through this as quick as we can. It gets 1 of these. It can knock my culture back by 1, so it does so. Now I don't have any way to follow, which I'm not too concerned about. It gets 1 more culture, so it will get 3 additional actions at the end, whatever that means. It gets 1 diplomacy, can't use diplomacy, and it can't use economy, so that goes there. 4th dice is an energy, so it will upgrade at the end of this turn. Moves a ship out, it will move a ship to the first planet. Can't really do anything there. It only has the 5 dice to work with. It now upgrades its planet by 1. It does the energy first, and then it does the culture. Now the culture one gives it 3 additional actions, which is the Rogue Galaxy takes an extra turn, but with only 3 dice and without these special actions recurring. After this is done, move the culture token back to 0 off the map. So we will keep the culture token here. And we will go ahead and take these off and re-roll 3 dice. So it gets 1 more culture. It can't do anything with the culture because it specifically says that you do this after you take the 3 turns. So we will re-roll once. And sorry about that. That should be on 1 here. Again, big, ugly hands. Can't do anything with economy. It can get 1 more energy. And its last action is colonize, which it can't do because Rogue steals 1 culture, but I don't have any culture to steal. Neener. So it rolls that. It doesn't get to re-roll again. That's it. That's the game. I won 22 to what is it, 6? Obviously, I probably made many errors throughout all of this. This was on the beginner level. There are 5 levels that you can play all the way up to Epic for Gamelin. And at some point, if I do come back to this game, and I probably will, again, because I only have 100 games to work with, and I'm going to do one of these for 365 days, so I'm probably going to come back to this one. This was fun. I enjoyed this. I'm finding that I'm enjoying Scott Alms' stuff quite a bit. I think we've got Tiny Epic Zombies by Scott Alms and Tiny Epic Quest. Now, Tiny Epic Quest is probably the one I like the least of all the Tiny Epics that I have, but I still enjoy it. So it's got a lot of fun to it. This is also one of the few that don't have meeples, and the meeples are kind of a fun part of the Tiny Epic experience. But I'm going to go ahead and put this away. So we start by... There are other Tiny Epics out there. There's Tiny Epic Mechs, Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. Mechs do nothing for me. I have zero interest in playing any games that involves mechs. I don't know why. It just is not an appealing thing for me. So I will probably never get the Tiny Epic Mechs game. It does not mean that it's a bad game or anything like that. It just doesn't float my boat. Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, I'm not sure. There's I've been curious about getting Dinosaur Island, which I do not have, but is supposed to have a really good solo mode. Unofficial solo mode, I believe. And we could always use a good dinosaur game. So the dice go back in here. Does anybody, when you're dealing with these little plastic things, do you actually label them so that you know what went in the bag originally? I find that, for example, like with Wingspan, I've got a bunch of these for the different pieces, and I'll leave one piece in there so that I know exactly what was kept in there. It doesn't make any difference. It's not like it's going to get contaminated or anything like that. But it is one of those things that just I wonder about. So we've got the converter mat. That'll go on the bottom. I'll go ahead and take the Galaxies here. Let's keep these in order. Epic, hard, medium, and then beginner. And to give you some idea of what makes things more difficult, yeah, I think you see with the colony actions, the difference is that this allows it to advance all of its ships +1, and the more difficult one is it steals 2 resources of your choice. Here it acquires 2 energy. Here it steals 1 culture. But if you continue to further look along, here you lose 1 culture, you lose 1 culture. Rogue acquires 2 culture. Rogue steals 2 energy. Rogue steals 1 energy and 1 culture. And each of the colony actions are advanced each time. The point values for each one is different as you continue to go up. So, for example, it starts off 1, 3, 5, and 8, but eventually gets to 2, 4, 6, and 9. It does appear that there are shorter time frames for advancing the culture, which is kind of interesting. This one's actually shorter. This is at 5. I think beginner might have been the actually easiest one. So I played on the easiest possible level, and no wonder I won. So this one goes from 6, 5, 5, and then 4 at the end here. But aside from that, it looks like this one is 5, 5, 6, 6, and 7. I think that's the same throughout. At the very end, the rogue colony action is advancing all ships +2. That would be brutal. But very interesting. So yeah, I played it on the easiest level. So no wonder I won so handily. I should not count that as a victory, but I will. And then the secret missions go down there, and then the planets. I like the variety in the planets quite a bit. There's a lot of different differences to the different planets. A lot of neat abilities that you get. That really does feel like a little bit of a mini engine builder as you start to acquire planets. But it'll be over before you get too many of them. So you don't really do a whole lot of epic engine building, but there is some. Dice go in there. Rules go in here. This goes on like this, and we've put the game away. We are zoomed in quite a bit. This was I think the area that we needed to play the game. It's not too bad. I've been very curious about footprints and how they affect gameplay. So, for example, I'm not going to zoom out right now, but I have one game called Hard City or something like that, and it takes up literally this entire table. So that little portion that you saw there, just imagine it like 4 times that size. There are other games that Until Falling Skies or Under Falling Skies, that's the name of it, sorry. Under Falling Skies has this great vertical distance, so it goes the entire length from where I'm sitting right down here all the way up to against the wall, which is kind of neat. This table, by the way, I really enjoy this table. This is an IKEA table. It's nothing fancy, but I enjoy it. I think it's got a nice background. It's definitely better than the plastic table that I was using. So this was the end of day 6. We're coming up on an hour mark. This is the first hour-long video that I'm putting out. So fun. I definitely enjoyed this game. We'll get to count that as a win, even though it was on the easiest setting. And that's pretty much it. I'll see you tomorrow for another tiny epic game. As always, click like on the video, click subscribe, and click the bell icon for notifications. If whatever errors I made in gameplay, please post them in the comments, and I will respond to them as best I can. And that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow.